Hey there everyone. A few days ago on Thursday, I did my video on the Empire at War official patch that came out, and since then, especially with the news a few days before that EA had lost exclusive licensing, or when their contract expires, Lucasfilm's Games is going to be expanding licensing for Star Wars games heading into 2023, I've seen a lot of discussion about how, or whether this means that Star Wars Empire at War could be getting a sequel or a potential remake. But while I'm glad, and I'm sure Petroglyph, the developers of Empire at War, are glad that people are so excited about Empire at War in the patch and the possibility for an Empire at War sequel, I do think we need to pump the brakes on this a little bit. So Petroglyph has always been pretty open that they really want to make Star Wars Empire at War 2, or do something else with Star Wars Empire at War, and with the proximity of this patch to the licensing exclusivity kind of running out in 2023 being announced, I can see how people would kind of get the conclusion that maybe this means something else is coming, but unfortunately, as exciting as that would be, I think that's reading a little bit too much into this. It doesn't, of course, mean that Empire at War wouldn't be getting a sequel, just that this isn't necessarily an indicator of that. For some context, this is not the first time that Empire at War has received a somewhat recent patch from Petroglyph. In 2017 and then again in 2018, there were other patches released for the game when Petroglyph had some time between other projects that they were doing, and this seems to be basically what went on here, where Petroglyph, as the company that developed Empire at War, had some time to fix some bugs. They did approach us modders, asking what we would like to see change in that patch, but I don't think it has anything to do with trying to test the waters for future Empire at War stuff. It's just they had the time to work on it. It's something that they had wanted to do for a while, it seems like, based on their announcements around the 2017 and 2018 patches, which were obviously a long time before we got this announcement that EA was no longer going to be doing exclusively doing Star Wars games. So I think as far as that goes, it really is just a coincidence that those came out so close together. So that being said, I do want to talk a bit about what it would actually take to get a Star Wars Empire at War 2. So the thing with the Lucasfilm Games announcement isn't just that EA is no longer the exclusive publisher or exclusive rights holder to publish Star Wars games, it's that Lucasfilm Games is going to be kind of handing out those contracts to different publishers, so any publisher or developer would be able to approach them to do a Star Wars game. This would mean that it doesn't just require Petroglyph getting Disney's approval to do Star Wars Empire at War 2 or whatever else you'd want to call it. It's that you would need Petroglyph to get a publisher, and then Petroglyph and the publisher would approach Disney to get a license to make that. So Petroglyph wouldn't be able to go to Lucasfilm Games to ask them to publish the game because they're not really acting as a publisher, they're acting as a licensor. And because that's the case, with Petroglyph having an ongoing relationship with Electronic Arts from Command & Conquer, I think that right now if you were to pick a frontrunner for which publisher would be doing a Star Wars Empire at War 2, or would be most likely to agree to it, I still think that EA is actually the leader at the moment. This does of course mean that they'd have other options, so it does mean that the chances have definitely increased, and I think it's also possible that the fact that there's going to be other publishers doing these things, or doing these Star Wars games, that EA might be a bit more open to taking on more Star Wars games or different Star Wars games than they might have when they had the exclusive license, since other people are going to be using the IP anyways. So again, while I do think it has increased the chances of Petroglyph getting to make an Empire at War 2 with the expansion of the licensing for games, I don't think it necessarily means it's underway, and I think especially the patch isn't a sign of that. I think it's just a coincidence about when they both got announced. Either way, that's just something I've been seeing come up a lot over the last week, so I thought I'd put out a video kind of talking about that. Hope you've all been enjoying the patched Empire at War and are looking forward to all the possibilities that mods have going forward because of it. Again, thanks a lot to Petroglyph for doing that. Hopefully if they're still angling to make Empire at War 2, they'll have some luck finding a publisher and taking that before Lucasfilm Games, but we'll have to see how that develops in the future if we get anything there. Either way, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye everyone.